There it is.
Rolling.
We're missing a handful of people here.
3.
I've got at least 4 that aren't here.
They're
so-
coming down the hall. They were getting coffee.
They all afraid I'm going to put them to sleep?
Probably not. I just think, I don't know if it's like, because it's a Sunday and like in your head, you're
I
like,
don't
oh,
know.
I'm at school.
Well, friends, listen up. I want to introduce to you a friend of mine who I think you are so super fortunate to have as instructor. John Schultz is known throughout the auction industry, not only for his expertise in the auction world, but in the marketing world. And I'll let John kind of explain his background and where he comes to it. But I was in a seminar with United Country, and they announced that John was launching what we call the Auction Marketing Manager, the AMM designation. And before he finished saying when it was, I'd already registered online for the course. He's that good, he's that impressive, his knowledge is that vast, and I don't hesitate to ask him questions. Understand this, when it comes to John, he's data-driven for a reason. But I think you're in for a treat, and he has just about 2 hours to do his stuff. He's probably taking 10 hours worth of stuff and squeezing it. So if you get the opportunity after hearing him today to hear him again, jump on it. Great individual, great guy, great in the auction industry. He's very active in the National Auctioneers Association. He's very active in the State Association. So with that, I'm going to get my good friend John here to take over for you, and then I'm going to be hanging around until you guys break. Mr. Schultz.
Thanks, Rich.
Thanks, Rich. It's a pleasure to be here. So, John Schultz, AMM. What the heck does that all mean, right? So you understand a little bit about me. I'm currently the Chief Marketing and Technology Officer for an auction company called Graph Auction. We're based in Minnesota, Rochester, Minnesota. We sell approximately 300, last year, 366 auctions in all 50 states and Puerto Rico. We specialize in commercial and industrial, and what the heck does that mean? It means 2 weeks ago we sold a distribution center for Neiman Marcus in Longview, Texas, just down the road, right?
Oh, cool.
When Target closes, we sell their closed stores. When Staples closes, we sell their closed stores. When a grocery store closes, that's our bread and butter. We do 100 grocery store auctions a year. So retail, commercial, industrial. We've been doing that since 1959, so a couple of days. I'm past president of the Minnesota State Auctioneers Association. I'm a current director of the National Auctioneers Association. Rich alluded to it. I co-wrote the Auction Marketing Management designation, so it's a 24-hour, 3-day course on nothing but auction marketing. I wrote the Auction AMM, what's called AMM Next, which is a 2-day course on taking that to the next level, which we'll start to touch on a little bit here when I'm hurting your head, so you'll realize, like, oh shit. There's no secrets, okay? I have no secrets. If you have a question, ask me the secret, okay? There's no secrets. If anybody that's known me and does know me, there's no secrets in our business. Call me up, I will tell you anything you want to know. There's no secrets. Personally, I've been in the auction business for 24 years. My family started in the auction business in 1978, so 44 years ago. I left my family business 11 years ago to join Graph in my current role. So my family business was a central Minnesota auction company selling real estate, antiques, pots and pans, farm equipment, anything we could sell. Obviously, I've transitioned and now at Graph, we are in 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 2 weeks paid vacation, paid holidays, paid health care. We're an unusual auction company, right? If you think about auction companies. But it's what we do. So we used to, just to set the floor here, I am an auctioneer. I don't sell anymore. We have 3 champion auctioneers in our company. So I'm not a champion auctioneer. I'm a pretty dang good auctioneer, but I'm not a champion. So I do what I do well, which is this. Pre-pandemic, we did 200 live auctions and 100 online auctions. Pandemic happened in March of whatever year that was. It seems like yesterday, but forever ago. We sent all of our employees home, and they haven't been back to the office.
Still?
Still. We haven't done a live auction since March of the pandemic.
Wow.
We did 366 online auctions last year.
Wow.
Part of that was because we were forced to. When the country shut down in March or April, several of our clients were deemed essential businesses in the United States. And they called us and said, we don't care that you're not essential as an auction company. You've got to do our work. And we went, well, I just can't fly to New York and do this work. They're like, well, you'll figure it out. So it forced us to really look at our business. Somebody asked me at the break, was it you? How do I feel? What does your heart say? And what does your gut say? And you, I don't know that you expected my answer to be this, but my heart says I wish I could go back and continue to do the live auctions because they're really fun. My gut, and as part business owner, or owner of the business, unfortunately my gut says the opposite. We probably will not ever go back to a live auction. And it's not because we don't love it, and it's not because we don't have world-class auctioneers in our company.
Just making more money that way.
Financially, we're better off. Our ability to do auctions, right? If you do live auctions, which we're going to talk about in class, but how many live auctions can I do a week?
Compared to online, yeah.
Well, I mean, if I have one auction, we had 2 auction crews, and we only do auctions during the week because of what we sell, and they're all over the country. It becomes a scalability problem for us. So we had 2 auction crews. Mondays were travel days, Tuesdays were auction days, Wednesdays were travel days, Thursdays were auction days, Fridays were travel days. Saturdays and Sundays go recoup from a week on the road. Well, you could do 52 weeks, 2 auctions a week, you could do 104 auctions. And then we added a second auction crew, we got to 208 auctions. Well, if we wanted to grow beyond 208, which is what we were doing, we'd done that for like 5 or 6 years, 200 auctions a year, we had to make a business decision, right, as to what are we going to do? Because we can't grow anymore without hiring another auction crew. When you fly in all over the country in 50 states and Puerto Rico every week, that gets expensive, and it really kills employees. It's not glamorous being on the road, is it? Anybody travel on the road a lot?
A lot.
It's not, right? I got on a plane yesterday, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, landed last night at 10 o'clock at night, teach this morning till 1, get on a plane, I'm going to fly home. Go home for 3 days, I'm going to get on a plane on Thursday morning and fly to Montana. Right? It's not glamorous. So, we're going to look at marketing and simplifying the complex. Marketing is all things auction. Because at the end of the day, that's what an auction is. It's the auction method of marketing, really. You're going to hear that. And we're going to look at, why does online auctions matter? Why do live auctions matter? What business considerations are there? How do I market auctions? How do I compete in the world? I'm going to give you some strategies that you, as individuals that are starting your businesses, have a lot of time. Many of you have a lot of time on your hands. I'm going to show you how you can beat me, how you can beat Rich, because you have a distinct advantage that I do not have. So you can go and destroy me. I'll teach you how to put me out of business. Okay? I legitimately will. And it's not because I want to go out of business. It's because I know that if you come in there and try to put me out of business, it's going to make me a better person, right? And a better business, which is why I'm here. Now, Rich, when he taught public speaking this morning, he forgot. He taught you the 3 B's. Do you remember them? Kind of? It's okay. You don't have to look up your notes. Because I'm going to teach you the 3 F's. You know the 3 F's, Rich?
I'm afraid to say it in this form.
He doesn't know them. He just punted there. But fake it, fix it, or forget it. Fake it, fix it, or forget it. You're going to be presented with opportunities, public speaking, or at auctions, or at situations in your life where you're going to have to make some really split-second decisions, and it's going to come down to those 3 things. You're going to fake it, pretend to fix it, you're going to fix it, or you're going to forget about it, because some things are going to come to you and they're not going to matter, okay? And then, like I told Lori, I said, and there's a fourth F, that things get really bad. Y'all know what the fourth F is. That is only in the event of emergencies. Fake it, fix it, forget it. And then that fourth F. Yeah. Only in event of emergency do you need that fourth F.
Well, that's Brittany, which one that is.
Good, Dan. Good one, Dan.
Somebody knows what the fourth F is.
We love that word.
I'm like, why isn't my clicker clicking? We'll fix it.
Oh, we were thinking of being words, informative.
Or I'll fake it. I would have faked it. All right. So, marketing options is simultaneously hard and easy. And it took me a long time to figure this out. As I said, when I transitioned from my family auction business, I was doing 30 auctions a year, $1 million a year in sales. And I went to Graph Auction, where we were, at that time, 11, 12 years ago, we were doing 150 auctions a year. We were doing $8, $9, $10 million a year in equipment sales. I thought, man, I got the world by the tail. Like, this is awesome. And I'm like, this is going to be easy. And it took me like 2 years on that job before I went, man, this is hard. We got to do things differently, which is where we're growing now, right? 366 auctions. You know, last year we did $24 million in sales. Which is crazy. It's good. But, and traditionally, Rich touched on this a little bit, traditionally auction campaigns and auction marketing relied on a lot of like just gut. And we'd sit there and we'd throw shit at the wall and hope it would stick, right? And what would happen? You'd get to the next auction and the next event, and what would you do? Right? You'd throw something else there. And it might stick, and it might not stick, but you would never change anything. And maybe you had a good auction, and maybe you didn't. Look, my heart rate now is accelerating. And maybe you had a good auction, maybe you didn't, but you didn't change anything, right? In my office, in 12-inch tall letters, it says, "In God we trust, all others bring death." Okay? I'm here to tell you that there's a little bit different. What if there's a little bit more methodical, a little bit less gut, a way of doing this? And get you a little bit better results. Because there is. I'm here to tell you. I'm going to teach you a whole lot about how to make Kool-Aid. But I'm going to tell you that I drink my own Kool-Aid. Okay? And I'll show you how we drink that Kool-Aid and what we do and what works and what doesn't work and how I failed and how I've not failed. But know this. Use your gray hair. A lot of us have gray hair and experiences and things we're passionate about. Right? We heard about keg and barrel racing. Right? Use that. You've got lessons you've learned there. Don't throw them out, but then infuse that with information that we're going to look at, that we can gather. Okay? So, to do that, we have to understand 4 trends. Like a good public speaker, you all saw me with my coat on. Off comes the coat. In a few minutes, the sleeves will get pulled up. So there's 4 trends we have to understand. So consumers used to in the 1970s only see about 500 ads a day. Okay? Only 500. How many are today?
5,000.
Yeah, I mean, it says 5,000, right? But think about where you see ads now. Where don't you see ads? Man, it's everywhere. Your social media, TV. Oh, I'm going to get away from TV. I'm going to watch Netflix to get away from commercials. Man, I just watched Yellowstone last night. I had to catch up. What did I see as I was watching that?
Don't tell me. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I'm not going to give you any spoilers because I hate spoilers. But I saw commercials, didn't I?
Yeah.
All the way through it. All the way through it. 5,000 ads a day. What does this mean for us as marketers? More opportunity.
More competition.
More competition. What else?
Needle in a haystack.
A lot of noise. What was it over here?
Needle in a haystack.
Yeah, we're gonna be chasing needle in a haystack. Okay, if we're a needle in a haystack, what does that mean we need to do to be found?
More marketing.
We got to be different.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody over here is just going to spend more money. That is a solution. That solution doesn't work very well. Because what happens about always just the way to solve this is to spend more money. What happens? You run out of money.
Yeah.
Because we're going to look at you compete against who? I mean, who makes up these 5,000 ads? What companies?
Fortune 500.
Every company, right? Even puny little old me. Or my aunt and uncle's business, right? My family business. I compete against them sometimes, right? And our budgets are different. And then we compete against Target because of what we sell, right? We compete against some of the biggest companies in the world. So you've got to be different. You've got to stand out. You've got to be intentional with it, especially as all of us being the little people on the pole. Okay? We even more so because our brands, I mean, when I say red dot or red bullseye, what do you think? Okay, when I say blue G, what do you think? Yeah, that's my logo, okay? Blue G. None of you thought of it, right?
That was good. I was like, damn.
You're all like, what brand is that? Right? If I say brown truck, right? If I say blue building, you have no clue. And blue is one of our company colors, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you're competing against. Those big companies can get away with some crappy ads sometimes. Why? Because they have lots of brand awareness. We don't have that advantage. We have to be more strategic. We have to be a little bit more tactile about it. We have to infuse. I'm already in trouble with Lori. Here she comes. Dang it.
I told you not to do that, John.
Dang it. Right?
I've been turning the lights down, Will. I think that'll help, right?
What'd you do?
I didn't do anything. She's just turning the lights down.
I like it down
Is there not a handout with this?
No. But if you ask nicely, I'll give it to you.
Take some notes.
Because you're going to find that there's going to be 4 slide points up here. I'm going to read to you, and then you're going to get 22 slides of freewheeling. So, but I'm happy to give you the slide deck. Fair?
I want it.
Lori wants it always. Okay. How many of you use newspaper advertising? Somebody just talked to me about phone books, right? I don't have a problem with newspapers,
Okay.
but I don't think it's the most effective way to market auctions anymore. Here's why. Newspaper readership is estimated to be the lowest it has been since 1940. 1940, we're right before World War II. Here's the population. United States readership, this is readership of the newspaper. 73 million citizens or people in the United States read the newspaper in 1940. That was 56% of the U.S. population. That was the easiest way to get the most amount of people. Why did we use newspapers?
Well, we didn't have digital.
That was where most people hung out. Like that was the biggest concentration of eyeballs.
Yep.
Right? Now we fast forward to 2016. What are we at?
22%.
72
Wow.
million people. The amount of people hasn't changed that read the newspaper.
It's the same people.
It might be the same thing. What's the U.S. population then? Why does this stat stop in 2016? Is it because I'm lazy?
Is it
Because
literally?
nobody could read it?
Population's growing, but the newspaper readers are staying the same.
In 2016, the Newspaper Association stopped reporting circulation numbers.
They were embarrassed.
Because it was so bad.
Why would they stop reporting something that's important like circulation numbers?
Because
Bad.
it
People want to
shows that
invest
they're
in.
failing.
They want to
Right.
invest in the ads.
Okay?
They're fading
They
out.
start taking them online.
I don't have a problem with newspapers. They have a purpose, and we'll talk about this later today. But, okay, can anybody name something that where more than 22% of the U.S. population hangs out?
That would be
Online.
social media.
Facebook is
Social
what
media.
percent?
Probably
I read it was
85%.
like 70
Dan's really close. He said 85%. I believe the number, correct me if I'm wrong, is 86%.
Yeah, I was like, it's in the 80s.
Okay, where else?
Instagram, Twitter, I mean, all.
Okay, I'm going to put Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, all on social media.
Okay,
TV,
TV, yeah.
right? You were probably close to 100% there. What's the problem with TV?
Expensive.
Can be expensive, too many channels. Again, we got to play, we have to play the breath game, right? So TV channels are like, woo, now.
The phone algorithm.
They're expensive.
And their TV can be expensive unless you,
Internet.
okay, what do you mean by internet? Because we're in 2022, like what isn't internet
Just on the
anymore?
Google, like
Cell
on the
phones.
home pages and that sort of.
Oh, so like search,
Yeah,
Search engines.
okay?
which then creates algorithms.
So search
Search
engine,
history.
right? Because what's the largest search engine in the world? Google. What's the second largest search engine in the world?
Yahoo.
No. No.
Yahoo or is it Safari?
No.
DuckDuckGo.
No. YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube. Owned by, right? And
Unbelievable.
when you look at social media, if we go back to social media, what's the largest social media company in the world? Facebook. Second largest social media company in the world. Instagram, owned by?
Facebook, which is now Meta.
What's the largest messaging company in the world? Like text messaging or messenger company?
Apple.
Facebook Messages. Second largest in the world? WhatsApp, owned by? Facebook.
Damn, Mark Zuckerberg is something else.
Yeah, for a college dropout. He
Right?
ain't doing
It's
too bad.
pretty
is he?
amazing.
We'll talk about how he's got a problem in life, though. Fair?
Fair, easily.
All right. So if you go to college or to any reputable marketing school, they're going to teach you this. For a prospect to do a favorable action, they need to see your marketing 7 times before they actually do something. Okay? 7 touches. It's the rule of 7. It's been around. This rule has been tested and tons of studies on this since the early 1930s.
It used to be 5, now it's up to 7.
Yeah,
It was,
I
think it was.
have not seen 5.
Oh, okay.
But it may even be more now today, but 7 touches. So you think about how you're going to do a marketing campaign. How are you going to get to 7 touches?
Repetition.
Okay, repetition. So what's your strategy? I mean, if we think of things we can do that's not a word. Repetitively. I was going to say repetitiously,
Radio,
which is a word.
TV.
but- Okay, so radio has high frequency, right? Like, we can run radio commercials a lot, and we're going to get to 7. What else? TV. What's
Facebook.
ads.
Facebook ads, because you see a lot of those ads.
YouTube ads.
YouTube,
Podcasts.
right? Think about a newspaper. How often can I, if I got a 3-week marketing campaign, how many times can I be in the newspaper?
1. Well, maybe 3.
Maybe
Sorry.
3,
3, yeah, once a week.
right? But we know this.
What about billboards?
Billboards might be a way, right? See, you have to change how you think about marketing, because this is the number. 7. If I do 1 newspaper ad and 1 direct mail piece and then hope I have a good auction, you might get lucky. You might not. As I've grown in my career and gotten older and more gray, and the closer I get to this 7 number, the more successful our events are. Because we're exposing ourselves to more people. And the stronger our brand is getting. Okay? Because they're starting to see us over and over.
So do you target, like, if you know?
We'll look at it.
Yeah.
Promise. I promise. You'll walk out of here with no secrets, and if there are one, you call me and I'll give it to you. Fair?
Sorry.
No, you're good. Now, point 4. Where do we spend our time?
On the phone?
Sadly, on our phones.
Yeah.
Right? Sadly, on our phones.
That's the texting.
5 to 6 hours a day on our phones for non-work use. 5 to 6 hours a day on this thing for non-work purposes.
Really?
Is that all
Who does
ages? I mean,
that?
that sounds like a millennial, but
That's all ages in the United States.
Well, I have an hour timer set.
I spent that much time.
I literally do.
Facebook deserves a lot of credit for that.
Some people spend that much time on TikTok. Yeah, right?
They
Yeah.
still got grandma on the internet.
I spend it on work. but
Yes,
not-
that's true.
not on work.
We can see their grandkids.
When you take all the COVID sitting on watching
So,
kids, it won't work. Yeah, trust me.
yeah,
You
I
can add
guess,
them to the mix.
People that are
Well,
unemployed.
This data is pre-COVID, so any arguments about COVID don't matter.
Oh.
pre-COVID.
I appreciate that, but
That's good, wow.
we,
That is crazy.
so now it's probably higher.
So you're saying this was pre-COVID, this?
February of
Yeah.
2021,
Damn.
I mean, and it was from the previous 2 years. If you look at this data from like 2019, it's very similar.
Okay.
Do not allow COVID in a pandemic and
Yeah, to give it to you.
and non-data to get involved here. In God we trust, all others bring data. We can all sit up here and say blah, 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 blah because of ABC. What would happen if you walked in my office? I'm going to point you to the wall, sign on my wall, and says, well, what's the data? I don't care what you think or what you feel or what you believe is important, but what's the data? Okay? So Rich walked out of the room because he knew a data conversation was going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. TikTok users are spending more and more time in the app. But this looks at TikTok, Facebook. This is hours per person in each social media. This is worldwide, this is United States. Facebook, 16 hours a month. TikTok, 25 hours a month. That's almost an hour a day, and I can tell you I spend exactly 0 hours there. So that means you're spending 50. Okay?
I don't even know what
That's
TikTok
one thing I
is.
don't have.
Dan doesn't even know what TikTok is.
He
It's a
doesn't know
very
he's
young
missing. That
thing.
shit is great.
Well, we found the 50-hour a day a month guy, okay? And it's not who you would have thought, is it?
No.
Is it who you would have thought? To the point of we can allow our guts and our thoughts and our brains to make assumptions? That's not who I would have picked to be the 50-hour a month person. No offense.
None taken.
Right? I probably would have put Kate there.
Barrel
Age,
racing.
on it.
age
She's
demographic.
barrel racing.
Well, you got to work to get down there, and you got to work to get up
I
there.
know.
How many hours do you spend a month on TikTok?
I actually don't spend it on TikTok, more on
One of these other ones?
Instagram probably.
Yeah.
Instagram, right? So Instagram 7. How many minutes? There's your hint. A day in print media do consumers spend?
Oh, probably what,
Minutes a day.
3 minutes a day.
15,
15.
yeah.
15 minutes a day. Okay. Times 30. So 30 divided by 4 is what? 7 for round
7,
numbers.
yeah. Wow.
Okay. And this is where? Where do people consume this?
On your phone.
On your phone.
TVs now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your
On
phone
their
is
smart
the
devices
main,
of
yeah.
some
But
sort.
aren't even TVs and stuff going away and more streaming services and that?
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of thing?
Actual TV watching has gone
I
down.
just meant the physical.
Yeah,
line.
we don't even have cable. I mean, all we have is a smart TV to
It's
watch
not cable,
Netflix
it's
and
HBO.
Amazon Prime.
What does this mean about your website?
More important.
More important?
But you gotta get people to the website somehow.
People aren't looking at websites as much anymore. Like if you look somebody up, a lot of times it goes to their Facebook, even a business.
Interesting, yeah.
If they're looking for auctions, I bet they are.
Put the website.
I know, I'm thinking about my business, not auctions.
What else about your website?
Make it pop.
Make it easy to use.
What do you mean by easy to use?
User friendly.
Yeah,
It needs to
yes.
look like the things that are used.
Obvious buttons that you can press and links that work and.
Okay,
You gotta get them there first.
okay. Let's say we get him there. What happens?
You need to
Yep,
have.
don't you
Yeah,
only have like
so
3
you
seconds
watch
to
the
captivate
TikTok
them
videos,
like
they like
immediately?
the video.
Gives you a clear indication of where to go to get a hold of you.
What's your website got to look like?
Like their stuff.
Professional.
I don't know where you're going.
Different than everybody else?
How about that it's mobile friendly?
Yeah,
How many times do you go to a website and you're like, oh crap,
yeah, you can't see
this thing
it.
does not work on my mobile device. This website maybe stinks. This website maybe isn't even, I don't even responsive. It's not even made for 2022. And I'm guilty. Not anymore, but was guilty. People would go to our website and it stunk on a mobile device. But yet most of our traffic comes, as you can see, that's where people spend their time. I mean, you're only awake 18 hours a day, and 6 of your non-working hours are spent on your mobile device.
Crazy.
Yep.
Whoa. You better have a website that's really mobile friendly. And by mobile friendly, here's your tip. Make it mobile first. So we just 3 years ago redesigned our website. We worked with our developers. For the first 6 months, the only design of our website I saw was the mobile version. Why?
Because that's,
Because that's the
that's
most
the
important.
data.
That's the data.
Right? This is what it says. That's what we're going to. So what did most people 3 or 4 years ago, how did you design a website?
look with it, just your regular
GoDaddy.
templates, right?
Website.
You built your website
Yeah.
on what? You had your desktop?
Yeah,
And what screen did you look at as you built it?
your desktop,
Your 30-inch
Yeah.
desktop that looks awesome?
not your small screen on your phone.
What did the consumer actually look at?
The mobile version.
This. Right? So we consciously decided that, hey, I'm not going to look at anything but this for the first 6 months. And so what happened to our website then as a result?
Nobody, it didn't,
No, we
Started
have,
engaging more because it looked.
It got a
they
lot
made
more
it.
hits.
Yeah.
it also is really airy.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you shrink this down to a mobile version, oops, or maybe not.
What is it?
Graph.
Very clear buttons, 2 buttons that you can pick by yourself.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause this is a personal thing of mine.
Okay.
Why are you coming to my website? To buy or sell.
Right.
Nothing. There's no other reason you're coming to my website. There are, but
yeah.
This is what I saw for 6 months. Do you see?
It kind of looks like the Google G.
Kind of does, but we have this Google G, this G trademarked.
Oh, okay.
So they can't take our G. Well, what happened, right? Look how airy, a lot of white space. Be okay with that, because most people are coming to your website how?
On the phone.
On a phone. So think of it that way. Build it that way.
Does your buy sell go straight to a phone? You click at it, it links them straight to a phone call to you?
No, absolutely not. A buy takes them to a whole shitload of auctions. Excuse my language, Lori. She's going to deduct my pay. Right? Because you want to buy, here's stuff to buy. Right? You want to sell? Cool. Why sell with us? You're not ready to get started? Learn how it works. Get started. You're not ready to learn how it works? Decide what, go deeper. And of course, I track all of that. So then we know, oh, Dan came to the website, he went and looked at this page, but he didn't call us or contact us. Cool, I'm going to get creepy. Right? Preston, he said it. It's how, when does it get creepy? Once it gets weird?
Yeah.
Right? You're going to have to figure that out on your own when it gets weird. But what can I do? Then I can then market to Dan and be like, hey, saw you checked out the seller page, but you didn't call me or text me or email me. And then you do what? You send more ads to them. Keep selling, right? So understand that about your website, right? It needs to be friendly. And these will impact everything you do, all the way through. These 4 pieces. You have to stand out. Newsprint, maybe not the best thing. And be watching these population trends, right? 7 touches. How fast can I get to 7 touches? You know, why were auction marketing, so traditionally auction marketing campaigns were 7, 14, or even 21, sometimes 30 days. Why were they that long?
It's newspaper cycles.
Right, because of the newspaper cycle. How often did the newspaper come out? You know, in rural America, it maybe came out only once a week. Mm-hmm. Right? It came out on Tuesdays. That's awesome. Fillmore County Journal comes out on Wednesdays. Right? Well, I needed to get 7 touches. What did I have to do? I had to have a 2 or 3 week campaign. What happens now?
The auction?
What's my auction marketing strategy?
You gotta close it down
A lot.
Prepare.
Right? You can get an effective marketing strategy for certain types of assets down to 2 or 3 days.
You do it too soon, then forget.
Right? Yeah, if you do it too soon, we procrastinate. We'll talk about that when we talk about why you shouldn't put dates on anything. You're like, what? Okay.
No.
So successful marketers do this. Leverage consumer trends. There's all kinds of places to get this. And then adapt your message to the prospects and the environments they spend time. That is marketing right there. Figure out where the consumer trends. Are we going towards more social media? Are we going away from it? Is Facebook dying? Right? Facebook is dying, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? It's peaked. It peaked a couple years ago,
Yeah.
3-4 years ago. Right? Adapt the message to prospects in the environments where they spend time. So I'm going to reach you, where am I going to spend time? I better be in TikTok for some of you in the room. Right? That's what you need to do with all of your marketing. Every piece of your marketing. It's that stinking simple. And get creative. Get creative. Okay? I've had our auction ads in urinals and in backs of bathroom stalls. Why?
I like it because
You need something to read.
You
different.
need to put what, right? If it's at a trade show and they're like, hey, it's $20,000 to advertise at this trade show or to have a booth. All right. Call the hotel or the whoever, the sign company. Hey, how much does it cost to get signs in that urinal in that hotel?
It's like,
Nothing.
yeah.
Right?
on the wall.
And then what do? You're now in the trade show where everybody is going to do what?
Use the bathroom.
Spend time. Right. Right?
Yeah.
Get creative.
Smart.
Get thinking. Be different. Like, how many of you ever go to Vegas? Right? What's a big thing people do in Vegas?
Gambling.
They leave it.
Besides gambling and leaving all their money there.
Go to show.
They walk, but how do you get around? You walk up and down the strip. What do you see on the strip?
Advertising.
Well, you see people with the cars, but you see
Yeah.
the billboards that are driving.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because.
Because we're all out there walking up and down that stinking strip, and why has the person got a billboard that's driving?
Do you look at it?
Because you can't put a billboard on that
Can't, yeah.
hotel. Caesars isn't going to let you put a hotel up there for your casino downtown. No, but they can't regulate what you drive up and down the road. Well, they can, but they don't. Right? Be creative. Consumer trends. Oh, people like to walk in Vegas and look at shit outside. Adapt your message and spend time where they hang out. Good thing I went to church before I came this morning.
Yeah, you did.
All right, so how do we do that? So we're going to look at strategies over the next hour and 23 minutes of how to maximize consumer reach. And we're going to look at all kinds of different types, from social media to search to what does my website operate. You're going to have some big decisions as you go out into the world as to what kind of platforms I use. Do I not? How does this work? So, first we're going to start with websites. How many of you have a website? 3, 4? Okay. Go get a website. Okay? It's 2022. Mm-hmm. You need a modern website to be successful in business. Okay? I don't care what you do. If you're going to have a business, have a website. And this is why I say this. We sell 366 businesses last year that all went out of business. Some of them, a lot of them, were small businesses. What is one thing that they have in common?
They don't have a website.
They don't have a website. Most small businesses that we sell at auction do not have a website. They do not exist. Because the first thing I do when I go to sell your small business at auction is to I do a Google search for you, and I go to your website and I want to learn how long you've been in business, what's your logo, blah, 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 blah. Most small businesses that go, no website. It's that simple. Go ahead.
Could a substitute for a website be like social media, like a social media page, like a Facebook page or an Instagram page?
It could, but we'll
it's
talk
not.
about why that might not be a good strategy.
Yeah.
Fair? Because it can be a good strategy. I would hesitate to recommend doing that as your only strategy. Right? We'll look at our Facebook in a second. We have 170 some thousand people that follow us on Facebook.
That's awesome.
Okay? But it only for our auction business, it generates less than a quarter of the bids in our auctions.
Okay.
It's not the end all be all. But does it have purpose? Yeah, because it shows that I'm reputable, right? When you search Graph Auction, you can see what competitor is bidding against me. Okay, so you search Graph Auction, right? Graph Auction, well, this was an ad.
Okay.
This is our website. And that was our own ad, by the way. We'll talk about it. This is Google showing reviews, right? So Google sees that we exist. This is a product from Google called business.google.com. Definitely, if you have a website, go claim this page, because then you can add all these photos I've updated. That service area, that's me. Right?
What's it called?
Business.google.com. Okay? We're looking for Facebook. Right? It's the number 2 organic result. So it has together. So you can see, even with this Facebook, by the way, number 1 website in the world. Value for organic traffic, number 1 in the world. In fact, it just overthrew Google.
But it's dying, you said.
It's dying.
It's like a bubble that's gonna pop.
It's going to pop.
Okay.
Compliments of our friends from Europe. Okay, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
No, nothing wrong with Europe.
Cyber security.
Right?
Security problem. Bitcoin.
We'll talk about it.
Crypto.
But number 2 is Facebook. So even though I don't rank I rank like, our website in the world ranks like 5.8 million. Facebook number 1. But Google still says, hey, when you search Graph Auction, or if you search Lambrick Auction, right? This website's still the most important thing. Quickly followed by our page on Facebook.
Okay.
I went by it.
Ours is there too. That's good. Okay, that's good.
Right? So important, and it just adds credence and credibility to your business, right? And then if you happen to get, because it's also pulling in reviews from Facebook over here on Google, And hopefully you're getting your own Google reviews, which we'll talk about as a strategy, right? 307 reviews, 4.7 stars, right? It's strategic. All of that doesn't happen by accident, just, oh, let's wait for it all to happen, right? You have to be intentional. Because this is where people spend, 90-some% of the world population uses Google. Well, I better hang out here. And I better be, I paid for that spot. And the number one non-paid spot is me. Right. Okay. You're going to have lots of places you can go host these websites. So those of you who have websites, where are you having them hosted?
Ours is on GoDaddy.
GoDaddy,
GoDaddy or Wix.
Wix, GoDaddy.
I
Okay.
mean, like,
You can go have them hosted all over
you mean like where they're
where they're
created?
hosted.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's through Sandhills Publishing. through
So
Chapter
Dan
House.
uses a platform, Sandhills Publishing, that owns a lot of auction specific, Auction Time, High Bid, Auction Flex, Tractor Time. There's a whole bunch more I'm forgetting. Okay, understand that. You can go all kinds of different places. We self-host ours through Google, so Google hosts our website. They're going to be different, go ahead. Oh, not a question,
Yeah,
just your
and
hand
I
up.
would say something, it's just a saying, and I've said it a million times to a million people. My buddy said this to me once, and it's really stuck. He says, if you don't market your business correctly, it's like kissing a pretty girl in the dark. Nobody knows you did it but you.
And her.
And her. But it's so true that, it's just, everything in business is about marketing.
It absolutely is.
Everything in business is about marketing.
Yeah, the method of sale does not matter.
Right.
All right, whether we're going to sell it at auction or a fixed price listing, marketing is marketing.
Yes.
Like, there's a little difference with the auctions in that we're event marketers, right? So you're going to find as you go out into the world, strategies that we have to use to market events is different than strategies you have to do to market Target that has an inventory of stuff never not.
Still falls into the service category, and I kind of had an aha moment yesterday.
Yeah, it's just we're retail. That's
Yeah.
how I look at it. Auction industry is retail. Go ahead.
Which is Google cost to host?
$12 a month. Where Google gets expensive is when you start doing crazy stuff with them. Such as, so our entire website is all custom built. The bidding platform is our own. We went and hired developers and built our own bidding platform. Where Google, we pay Google $8,000 a month. We pay the developer team $9,000 a month. Crazy money.
It doesn't have to be that expensive.
It doesn't.
though.
Because Dan's over here at maybe a couple $100 a month.
Yeah,
I might
ours is
be
like
making a number.
$167
So,
a month.
it can be,
And we have a
you're gonna have all
1,000.
kinds of ranges, which we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about. Kate?
Is there an advantage of hosting your website on Google, like as far as for the search engine, or if you
There's
have
not.
it on? Okay.
Yeah.
Google says there's not.
Enhanced SEO?
So,
What's that? It does not. So Google says, Google, when we talk about SEO, so search engine optimization, who hosts your website, unless it's a really bad place in the world, which none of you had listed one of those places. Google does not take that into account as a ranking signal. And if they did, they'd have a little bit of a problem. Because they'd be riding the rail fence, and that never works out very well.
so question I got, I've been approached, I've gone to like conventions through Tractor House.
Yeah.
Because I have a business, I buy and sell farm equipment. And Sandhills has their thing once a year, well, they did before COVID, but, I've been approached by like these companies that like to accelerate, like to make it faster to get to your stuff. I mean,
Oh, so Dan has had snake oil salesmen. So there's gonna be people that come and say, hey, we can get you to rank higher. We can get you be the number one for this word. And you just pay us this amount of money, we'll make that happen tomorrow. It won't. You will lose money and you won't get there. Okay? It legitimately takes work. Google's algorithm is super powerful and always being updated, and it's always being updated to get rid of the black hat. It's called black hat versus white hat. Those that use the black hat, right, to try and get their pages to rank there when they don't. So be careful
Well,
with
that's,
anybody
I
that-
just didn't think it was worth what they were trying to like, get a lot of money. I'm like,
Well, we're gonna look at money in a second. Promise. Okay, you're gonna have choices. You're gonna have choices as to, do you use a marketplace? So Dan's using a marketplace. Tractor House, is that who you use? Tractor House. Okay, that's a platform where he can go and list his tractors and sell them. Okay, or High Bid, it's another company, or Proxy Bid, or Bid Spotters. These are all marketplaces. What marketplaces are places you go and list your items for sale in auction, and they provide the service, the auction bidding service, and your auctions get exposed to a whole bunch of consumers that are already built into the system. Okay, in exchange for that, they're going to ask you for a commission, generally, percentage of your sales, maybe a flat fee, and 100%, every person that registers for that auction also is signing up for what?
A buyer fee.
They're back on the market.
An account with whatever company, so Tractor House. They're actually not, when you go and look at the terms and conditions, they, the consumer, are not creating an account with you at all. They're creating an account with Tractor House, and Tractor House is sharing the information to you through an agreement, which is cool in 2022. That probably will come to a stop soon. I can't define soon, and this is why. And it's called GDPR, it's in the Europe. They have data regulations that say this, that you as a consumer own your data. And you as a consumer get to say who can use it and who can't. And that when I register with Dan's company or with Tractor House, I'm the one that gets to say, Tractor House, can you share it to Dan or not? Not Dan saying, hey, yeah, everybody that registers for my auction, you have to give me that information. So it's switching. Okay, in Europe, it's completely switched. Completely. So far, to such an extent, so soccer, right? Just like American football, they keep all kinds of crazy stats on soccer players, how fast they can run, how far they can kick the ball. There's a group of soccer players in Europe that are suing the sports stations in Europe, saying you cannot collect and aggregate the data about me because it's my data. How fast I run and how many goals per game I kick and how many tackles per game I have is my data. And I'm the one that gets to say what happens to that data. Great, that's Europe. None of us are in Europe, are we? Guess what? No, well, the internet, if you do any business and market into Europe, know that this will apply to you. But California's adopted it. Nevada has, what's that?
Shocking.
Yeah. Nevada has adopted it, not shocking. West Virginia has adopted it, Virginia has adopted it, and all 50 states have got the bill in process, including your great state of Texas.
like Sand Hills is worldwide. They got platforms all over the world.
Right. So it's coming to a point in every state, in all 50 states, don't live free or die or not, it's coming where the consumer is going to get to dictate. We've already started to see this with some auction platforms. There's an auction company in auction marketplace called Live Auctioneers. They only will give you the winning bidder information. You could have 1,000 people register for your auction, 10 buyers, you will only get the 10 buyers. You don't get the other however many. Go ahead.
So like fantasy football, the stats that you have on
Yeah.
players, are these players now going to say, you know what, you can't use these stats in order to use...
Unless you pay me a royalty.
Unless you pay me a royalty.
Right. That's what's going on in Europe. But what happens in Europe eventually comes to the United States.
So that's
Please
like
see every
online
American.
gambling, like,
Right? It's a mess.
Would that affect fantasy football? If they did it in the NFL?
If they did it in the NFL, absolutely, because the player's data belongs to the player. That's how Europe works. But that's what California has started to say. That's what other states have started to say, and all, like I said, all 50 states have introduced bills to this effect.
So is there not like built in with some terms and condition that they can give you that information?
No, because of the way the laws are being written, that they could, you the consumer, would have to specifically say, yes, it's okay to give that information to Eric on a per basis.
So what the players will do is, if you want to access their information.
Yeah.
What did you say the acronym on that
GDPR.
What is that?
So would that also pertain to any consumer that's making customer lists?
Yeah.
So any customer list out there that's your information and they can't obtain that unless you have permission.
Correct.
What if you already had it?
Well, I mean, you're obviously gonna have stuff that gets grandfathered in,
That's what I'm saying.
but that's where it's coming.
So no more robocalls?
Now, robocalls are going away. Yeah, they just introduced, the FCC just introduced a thing called Stir Shaken, which will get rid of robocalls. They'll go away in
What
the
am I
next.
gonna do about my extended warranty?
Well, you're gonna have to start driving a different kind of truck, is what you're gonna have to start doing. You won't need the extended warranties anymore. I'm gonna sit on that chair eventually. All right, but be aware of those data. That's changing. That you need to be thinking about that. So as you're going and saying, hey, how are we gonna host our website? Who are we gonna use? You have to be having conversations with them about what data are you collecting? Who does the consumer belong to? Right? Who do they create accounts with? Right? Some friends of mine in North Dakota, 600 or 700 farm auctions a year. Okay? If I come in here to create an account, and I click terms and conditions, it's hard to read that, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I can do anything to do it, fix it.
Well, you can confuse
They don't want you to read it.
It's all right. Anyways, so whose website am I on? It says Steffes Group. Okay, I'm on their website. They host their own bidding. All their own bidding is through their website. Blah, 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 blah. I'm a new bidder. I want to register an account with them. Who am I creating an account with? You can't read it, but these terms of use forms a legally binding agreement between you and, it says Nextlock.
Nextlock, a Delaware corporation.
Right, auction software provider with whom the auctioneer has, who's the agreement with? Whose bidder is it?
Theirs.
Who's theirs?
Next
Nextlots, right? And Nextlot, through a licensing agreement, is giving you access to it. Be aware of that. As you go out and you create websites and you create your marketplaces, this may significantly impact your viability in the future. Because there may come a day in the United States, read 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, where that is going to frick your life up.
So what if Steffes actually had they had their own, where you were doing an agreement with them?
Yeah,
Would that eliminate that?
It would if you had a, but then Steffes would have to license the data to who? They'd have to license the data to Nextlot maybe, unless Nextlot clearly was just a software provider. Because there are software providers. You're going to have the choice when you go out there. You're going to be able to use software providers that's just all they are. They're just software, right? There's lots of companies like that.
So in that case, let's say that company has their own software, or they've purchased a software,
Yeah, so
they would
here's
have
a-
access to all.
Yeah, here's a company.
So when you type in auctions, what do you want?
Look at that, you must-
This
Yeah.
is a legal agreement between you as buyer, seller, and the site owner or auction company. Right? They're using a software provider that's widely available in the industry, fairly inexpensive.
So that one's okay as long as.
Yeah, because you're actually, you the bidder, are creating an account with Musser Brothers. You're not creating an account with Nextlot, or HiBid, or Tractor House, or ProxyBid, or BidSpotter. Now, the cool thing with BidSpotter, ProxyBid, HiBid, what is the cool thing about all of them?
They're well known.
Yeah, they're super well known. They have built-in buyers for almost everything you're going to sell, right? So coming out of the chute, you're going to have a choice. Look at that, coming out of the chute. Look at that.
That was
I'm in
good.
Texas. I'm in Texas now.
You're working cattle.
Woo! We work.
Shoot, she's smoking.
She's smoking fast, right?
Smoking runs.
See, you were passionate. It resonated with me back there. You're going to have a choice, right, as to what you want to do. And maybe it is you start with a HiBid or a ProxyBid or a bid, right, knowing that there's some risks there, and then at some point you transition. Or maybe you go, you know what, I'm just going to do it right out of the gate, but I'm going to suffer a little bit because I'm going to have to work harder to market and expose my options. So you've got a business choice there that you get to make. I don't have to make it for you.
Amen.
Right? I just get to be the guy that tells you about it. And we can talk about that all day, so I have a 3-hour course that's nothing about data, but only about data. You don't want to sit through that. Okay. Either way, you're going to want to rank highly, and this is called search engine optimization. It's shortened down to what? SEO. Okay? Here's your holy grail. Here's where you all have an advantage over me. I don't have time. Many of you have time to go and write content, okay? And write lots of content. This is why it's important. Well, let me do those 2 bullets and then I'll show you. Google processes 70,000 search queries every second. 70,000 a second. And 53% of all traffic to websites in the world come from organic searches. 53%. Okay? Which means that if I go to Google, and I say Google because it's the largest, and I type something in, how to sell used restaurant equipment, and if it's something I wanted, like maybe I want to sell used restaurant equipment, we do, okay? What do I want Google to think? I want Google to think graph, right? Well, I'm in Texas.
Okay, yeah.
So what happens?
Come up on the first.
You have to come up in the first 3 results.
You
Okay,
have to.
the first 3. Skipping. So this is an ad. This is me spending money, because that's one way to do it. But most people, a lot of people, skip the ads. Oh, obviously you saw 53% of traffic is not paid; it's organic. Okay. This is me spending money. This is somebody else spending money.
But that means 47% comes from paid ads, so it's not a bad use of funds.
It's not a bad use of money. The problem with, well, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Unless you got an unlimited checkbook, Jeff Bezos. That's the problem with money, right? And we'll look at it. Okay. Number 1 result is Texas restaurant supply. Why is that coming up number 1? Because we're in Texas and Google thinks it's an important page. Hey, they're important about this and we're in Texas. So location matters. What's number 2?
You guys?
That's my website.
So you did the SEO route.
I took the
so
time to build
you
a
could-
page,
Yes.
right? So that I can rank high. And you all can
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
It took time. But now what is this page? How to sell used restaurant. Where can I sell used restaurant equipment? What is that page going to look like?
Your website.
Well, yeah, it's on my website. What do you have to do for Google to rank highly? Answer the question,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What does that mean if I'm an auction company? Answer the damn question.
Yeah.
What's the very first thing I tell them to do? Go use something else. Because I stink at selling single items because of our business model.
Got
You
it.
call me to sell a pizza oven in Texas, which somebody just did Friday. What did I say to them? Love to help you.
But this
It's
is
a $1,500 pizza oven and I'm in Minnesota. And for me to fly down there and
Yeah.
sell a pizza oven, a single pizza oven at auction that I'm going to make $100 in commission on, probably not worth it. So what do? We answer, sell it somewhere else.
Yep.
How do you price it? Hey, by the way, look at all of our past results by searching.
Yep.
We'll tell you all the prices. Oh, but I've got a lot of stuff. Okay, cool. Sell it to a dealer. I tell them, go sell it to a dealer, but this will give you fast access to cash, which is often looking for equipment to sell. This route does not get you top dollar because the dealer's going to buy it to resell at a profit. Go sell it to a different business that's similar to yours. You're going to get the most amount of money. You're going to work your tail off to do it because you're going to have to find it. Right? You have to negotiate it. This is difficult, especially if you got a lot to sell. And oh, by the way, when you get done, you're probably going to have a lot of stuff left over. Right?
Yep.
And then what do I say? Oh, by the way,
Auction it.
auction it. This page generates 2 to 3 calls a day. Every day.
Yeah, because
Never
even
not.
though it's not your focus and you're directing them to go somewhere else, you drove traffic to your website and then they're going to go poke around in other areas.
Right?
So that's a smart thing. So
Because people search, right? People search this Now, not a lot of searches. I've got some tools turned on in here to help me.
Yeah.
40 searches a month in the entire United States for that specific phrase.
But that's, okay, so my question to you is, the specific phrase itself, how many can you write in terms of, like, if you look up Sky High for Kids, I mean, it's great, the whole goddamn page is it. But if you look up childhood cancer nonprofit, that's where we're not in the top 3. But if you look up childhood cancer research, like, how many phrases can you route,
As many as you want.
right? Okay.
But Google, so you're gonna wanna write a lot of pages. How to
Right.
sell used restaurant equipment.
Yeah.
Where to sell used
Yeah.
restaurant equipment.
Like you.
But multiple pages.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
Lots of pages. Not duplicate content. Google
No.
hates duplicate content.
Not duplicate.
Do not
So-
duplicate the content.
Okay.
So what, how did
What do you
you,
mean by that?
So.
Like,
yeah.
I couldn't take and make, hey, let's just copy this page on my
Yeah.
website and make
And
another
then put it
page
on
just
there.
like it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
change the heading.
Yeah,
Google's gonna say, ha,
That's black.
you're
Yeah.
black hatting, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna do the opposite of what you want. They're gonna jam you right to the bottom. In
Right.
fact, they may even delist the page without you even knowing it.
but you
so
wanna,
as far as this, you just made an article on your website?
You got it. I took the time to write that article. It
And
takes about 90 days before Google will find it. And then if it's written well, Google will start to push it up. So it's taken about a year for it to get to where it's number 1 or 2 in Google.
So did
So-
somebody
So-
correct you on how to do that, or is
Yeah.
there a specialist on that?
yes.
Oh, yeah, they are,
Yeah,
but they're
SEO
really expensive
specialists.
and they have a lot of snake oil that they sell.
Yes,
You can,
yeah,
if
this is
you,
Yeah. Okay, so, for 20 years, my family, we owned Keystone Coffee and Auto Spot, okay? I took it over, 5 years ago, and when COVID hit, I shut down the coffee aspect of it. So then I went through my host with the website, and I had to eliminate coffee from my, from the website, and unfortunately, Google still sees coffee as part of an aspect of the business, which no longer is. I've since changed the website address and eliminated all coffee. Unfortunately, still Google still has that problem.
It takes time.
Yes. Now, I'm trying to enhance my search SEO, and with the website that I have, deducting the coffee, the problem is coffee is the first word on it, so then it still directs people coffee, and they still get phone calls today, like, what time you guys open it up, you got this coffee, got that coffee, when in all reality, all I'm doing is car wash and detailing. So I guess my question is, can I just add a page to my website that would enhance my SEO?
SEO, yeah.
SEO.
I'm sorry, SEO.
Not a page, pages.
Yeah, like several pages.
Lots of pages. Why detail a car? How to detail a car?
Yep.
Because most people are going to go, how to detail a car, and you're going to give them such a thorough answer, they're going to go,
Yeah.
crap, I'm not doing that, I'm going to you.
Yeah.
Hey,
Mobile
there's lots of, I'm a
Yeah.
dork,
Fuck
but there's
pages.
lots of videos of people watching how to detail, like here's the before video, and here's it goes in fast, and this is what it looks like amazingly afterwards, right? You could do pages like that on your website, like the detailing process, and this applies to any auction business too, like from listing to selling, but lots and lots of pages. You can go hire this done, okay? Here's
Yeah.
my experience. To get this hired done, most people you're going to hire are not going to be subject matter experts. They're not going to have the passion. It gets to Rich's point. They're going to get up in front of you, and you're going to want them to talk about a traffic stop on your website, and they'll go Kate's route, okay? And they won't care, and you may not notice, or you might notice, and you're still going to have to pay them money because they did what you said. They wrote about a traffic stop.
Yeah.
Okay? So you can spend money to do this. There are really reputable companies in the world that do this. Unfortunately, they're really freaking expensive.
Or,
The
sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna ask, I was gonna be a question.
I was warned. I'm soon to put a word counter on her.
So adding these pages kind of gets me away from spending
I
all
was
this
just gonna
money on
ask
these
if you
snake
knew
oil
teach yourself.
SEO guys that say
Yeah,
that
I'll show you.
they can help me.
Yes.
Okay.
So last name of our company, Graph. Co-owner with me, Judd Graph. His daughter, SEO expert in the world, like world renowned. I talked to her last week on the phone. You would think I would have like some special in there because I've known her since she was literally like 2 years old. I'm like, hey, Lexi, I want to hire your company. She says, no, you can't afford it. I said, well, the family discount. She says, no, it's $50,000 a month. I said, I can't afford you. She says, yeah. I said, well, recommend a company to me. She says, no, I won't. You can't go find a company that's going to be reputable at the dollar level. And I was looking to spend $10,000 a month. At the dollar level you want to spend, John, $10,000 a month. I can't in good conscience recommend a company to you. And that's just the sad reality of this SEO world. It's just there might be some out there. Don't take that like there's not. But that's coming from a professional that does nothing, and she is as nerdy as you come. She makes me look silly, okay? That's just the reality. So how do you do this yourself? Okay, fair?
That's all I was gonna ask is.
So let's say we wanted to do this, use restaurant equipment, or auto dealing, detailing. You wanna come do my truck? It's dirty.
You wanna come to Fredericksburg, Virginia?
Maybe. Okay.
Hey, put it on my website, I'll give you a video and I'll teach you how to do it.
There you go. Yourself. Go and search and think what the consumers think. Okay, go to Google. Google's got some things built into it that will help you. The first thing it does is, okay, how to sell used restaurant equipment. Okay, look at who's ranking organically already. Okay, go to their sites. So this is what, I didn't go to this site, but if I was doing this, I'd go to this website, Texas Restaurant Supply, and I would read their page. And I'd be like, oh, what kind of ideas are there? What can I think of? Okay, I could create something like that. I could probably create something better. Don't copy it, because if you copy it, you're going to kill yourself and you're going to kill that company. They're going to get mad. You're going to get a copyright letter in the mail. Bad. Okay? I've done that. I've not copied it. I've been the guy that sent the nice letter. Okay? Be careful. If you would have called me and asked me, I probably would have let you copy some of them. Okay? You can see it's not a very long page. What else can we do? If you go to the bottom of Google, every page, every time you do a search, Google is going to give you related searches.
Yeah.
What are these?
Leads. They're the most common, close things that are close to what you search for.
These are 8 more pages I can write.
Yeah.
How to sell used restaurant equipment near the Colony, Texas. Not relevant for me, but maybe relevant for you. Where to sell used restaurant equipment near me. This is the title of the page and go answer the question. Sell restaurant equipment. Who buys restaurant equipment near me? Answer these questions. If you do them in a good way, Google will start to, because Google doesn't see your website as a single page like we do. We look at it as a single page, right? Like, Google sees it as a culmination of everything. Chapters in a book. Like, what's this book about? Oh, it's about used restaurant equipment. So we sell a lot of grocery stores. Pandemic did what to grocery stores?
Ooh,
Best thing grocery stores ever could happen to them.
yep,
Curbside service?
Because grocery stores are what? They're not going out of business.
no,
They're going crazy.
mobile and
So
curbside.
my website, I check every week, every Sunday morning I get a report. We started to decrease in ranking about supermarket equipment auctions. Why?
Because they weren't having it.
Because we weren't having them. And we were dropping. Well, this week, earlier this week, I just put 3 Kroger supermarkets on the website, right? Guess what I saw this morning?
Okay.
Yeah, we're back up to #1 in the world for grocery store auctions and supermarket auctions. Google checks that every day and fluctuates. So you've got it consistent because they're going to look at the whole. Oh, there's nothing left on his website about grocery stores or very little. We're going to ding him down a little bit. Oh, look, he's got a couple Krogers. Cool, I'm going to bring him back.
What's that Google, I know my search out guy showed me where, like, if you put in the word auction, it'll show you every word associated with auction that somebody searched.
Yeah,
That
so there's a
was-
couple of tools.
Yeah.
Called the thesaurus.
It's called the thesaurus, yeah.
And it
It's
shows
not
you
called the
how many
This is a
links there
tool.
was.
This is a tool I use. There's another one called SEM Rush. Most of these have free trials. Once you get past the free trial period, this gets expensive. Maybe it's like $120 a month. So if you're going to subscribe and not use it, it's like having that HBO channel you don't watch. Okay. They're all going to have a tool called Keywords Explorer. and we can go in here and type in the word auction. I generally would not recommend you trying to rank for the word auction. Why?
There's a lot of them.
Well, they're very common. When you search, how do you search? How many of you just use one word when you search in Google?
Use specifics.
Some of us might, but you use a specific search. You use phrases, don't you? Where to find auction, how to have auction, who, what, when, where, why, right? So you're going to want to have content that way. So ranking for this word, while it's cool, it's going to give us a score. Keyword difficulty, super hard, 95. Good luck. There's 106,000 searches a month. 309,000 searches in the world. It's going to give you questions. So this might be the thing. What is featured on the most expensive baseball card ever sold at auction? That's the number one question related to auction in the world. Right? If you're going to sell cars, or you're going to sell cattle, or you're going to sell real estate, or you're going to sell retail store fixtures, do I want to answer that question on my website, even though it's going to get me a lot of traffic about auction? No! Because I don't want the people calling about coffee. Right? I don't want those people. How to buy a house at auction. That's the number 2 question about auctions in the world. If you're selling real estate, I would probably go write a question. How to buy a house at auction. How to buy cars at auction. Notice how small these are. Did you see? We're at 106,000 searches in the United States a month for the word auction. These questions, only 3,000. Super narrow, which is why you have to have lots of different content pages and lots of different questions, right? Because it gets real narrow. Now, if we were to look at this, like how to buy a house at auction, so we're just going to, I clicked on it, it's going to show me now that word. What happened? Boy, we went from 95 to 24. Got a lot easier. Right? 2,000 searches. Here's the number 1 result. By the way, it's for Rocket Mortgage. They took the time to realize that this is an important word.
Yep.
And what they do, they went and created content, and now they rank number 1 in the United States for how to buy a house at auction. They're not even an auction company. Lots of opportunity for us in the auction industry to do what? Write content, answer these questions, rank highly. Right? And then it gives you more questions. How to buy a house at auction. How to buy a house at auction without cash. How to buy a house at an auction. How to buy a foreclosed house at auction. How to buy a house at auction in Florida. In Texas. In Virginia. In the ocean.
But that tool works really well, even if you, like yours, like when you start narrowing, like your Springs, Arkansas auction, right, or vice versa, then you can start narrowing down a real good search of words that work.
Correct.
Yes.
You can also, if you don't want to spend the money, if you've got a question, go to Google. Because all these tools, Ahrefs, which was what I just showed you, SEMrush, which is another one, where are they getting their data from? Google. So just go to the search engine and get it. Because I just typed that same question. What's the very first thing? This is an ad. No, this is that Rocket Mortgage page. I'm sorry. Rocket Mortgage. What's the number 2 thing that Google shows us? People also ask. It gives you 4 more questions. Which is what? 4 more pages you get to write on your website. And what the cool thing about this is Lori isn't doing it. Rich isn't doing it. I'm not doing it. 99% of the auction companies in America aren't doing this. Because we're too busy doing something else. So you all have a huge advantage because you have time. And I've pissed my time away doing something else.
Yeah, you do.
Amen.
But that's called Ahrefs.
That was a tool, Ahrefs. This is just Google though.
And the other one was what?
SEMrush.
What is that?
Ahrefs.
A-H?
R. You think I talked with an accent?
Yeah,
Ahrefs.
And it was called a keyword what?
Keyword Explorer.
And what was the other one?
SEMrush.
SEM-Rush?
Yep. Just like Kate gets when she barrel runs.
So, like if I write an article, say, what is the best way to sell farm equipment? I could kind of kill two birds with one stone for my retail website and my auction, right?
Correct.
You could write it, because you were
Yeah,
gonna
so the
say,
number one result, striptillfarmer.com. They have an article on the 5 tips for selling used farm equipment. How can I sell my tractor fast? What's the best place to sell a tractor? What's the best selling farm equipment? How can I sell my equipment? Right? That's 5 more pages. And even if you don't have an auction right now, what do? They're called landing pages. You create pages that talk about this. Right? Because guess what? The consumer doesn't care. I can't tell you how many times, because we have some campaigns that run on just generic auction, I get called for antique and collectible auctions. Man, if you would just take the time to look at what kind of auctions we do, you'd realize that we don't do that. Never have, never will. Moved too many couches in my life. What's that? Go to somebody. Right? Preston.
Does Google represent all those questions that are on the same page, or do they gotta?
Sometimes the questions will overlap.
So like if you put on your website, you got one page and you ask 2 questions on that page,
I wouldn't do that.
so ask one question per page, answer
Yeah.
on there.
If you do multiple questions, and like a fact page, where it has lots of questions with lots of answers, you're better off creating individual pages for each question.
But you
could rank for multiple. So like if I just typed in where to sell used restaurant equipment, you can see that Texas Restaurant Supply is number 1. There's a buy-sell group on Facebook, and then here I am. It's a different question than how to sell, but it's the same page. Google says, oh, it also ranks highly for this.
So you pay an additional amount to see how many domains.
Yeah, all that data in there is,
Sorry.
you're good.
So when you're talking about the black hat stuff,
Yeah.
so you're saying that if you're asking the same question or doing that twice?
If you start duplicating, if I just keep duplicating this page over and over and over, or start going to all kinds of websites. So I did this with the National Auctioneers Association. They have a blog, they're always looking for content. I wrote a blog on where to sell used restaurant equipment. I took what I had on my website and I rewrote it. And we posted it there, and then part of the strategic initiative is they link back to whoever's website wrote the article. Well, their page ranks really high, like really high. And then I got all that credit for coming back. But Google doesn't see that as bad because it's similar but different content.
So you could write how to sell restaurant equipment in Texas, how to sell restaurant equipment in Illinois.
Correct.
Yeah, but then the content is going to have to be different.
Has to be different.
My guy has.
Similar but different. Because Google can read, can't it?
My guy has an app, he can take content, and he has a software that's, changes it'll take the content,
Okay.
move it around, and then he applies it. And he just does it so fast, he doesn't have to create the content.
Yeah, there's tools that'll
There's tools
rewrite it.
That will take content.
You don't want to
rewrite it,
manually.
and then just use it.
But Google's always trying to figure it. Because Google reads and Google listens, literally.
Yes. Knows everything.
So what's your,
This
really
is
the
so
best way to
great.
do these questions is probably a blog.
isn't it?
It's so
Is that a good way to do that?
Yeah, have it, but built into your website. So have a blog, but build it right into your website.
My wife. I buy.
Right in there. And this is why. So, this is a website listing company that lists auctions
Yeah.
called Auction Zip. It's all organic content, right? You as auctioneers put it's an upcoming auction calendar, fair? This is where you throw up in your mouth. When you think about who am I giving my data as an auction company to, and what do they do with it? They rank for 222,000 words. That generates 700,000 organic visits to their website a month. And if they had to buy that traffic, it would cost them. How much do they actually spend a month? 0. Because organically. So can I buy it? Yeah, you can buy it. But this is what happens. How long can you sustain $775,000 a month? I mean, I can measure that in seconds, not in months. But organically, how long can you sustain it? Forever. It only costs you the initial time investment. Okay? And go and take the time to do that. And now I'm gonna go look at the largest auction company in the world. I think. Ritchie Brothers?
Yeah.
Pretty dang close. They don't even get as much traffic. And the traffic they do, they'd have to spend $300,000. How much do they actually spend on Google ads a month? They spend $22,000 a month. But how much traffic do they actually get organically? 305,000. Now, do they have some other costs? Yeah, they've got employees that sit around and do what? Write content. But what is the worth of that content? So you can buy your way there, which is a strategy, or you can organic your way there. This is long. It takes time and energy. Everybody's so quiet.
So good. This is so good.
So, speaking of Ritchie Brothers, like for me as a buyer, I use Ritchie Brothers like every auction I go to almost, when I go all over the United States. I use Ritchie Brothers specs. You go in there and it'll tell you, it'll tell you the weight,
That's all
the
organic
horsepower,
content.
and all that stuff. They were making money off of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's us, not the largest auction company in the world.
But still, look at your,
I spend $12,000 a month on Google.
okay.
How much traffic do I get organically?
Wow.
Only 1,000, 1,600. Why? Because we're so busy doing stinking auctions, which is awesome because it's how I live,
But
that we don't have enough time to do what? Create organic content. So what am I having to do?
Hire people to do it.
I'm having to buy my way through Google
Yeah.
Ads. Or tried to hire Lexi.
but
And she said, yeah, 50 grand a month, and I threw up.
It could
Right?
be-
And then I went, well, what about 10 grand a month? And she says, no, don't spend 10 grand a month. Go spend 3 grand a month or 6 grand a month and hire somebody full-time that works 40 hours a week for you.
in your office.
In my office, she says, you'll have full accountability for them and you'll be able to control what they produce.
So is that
And I
what
went, oh, okay.
Yep.
Have
Is
I
that
done
what you
that?
did?
I haven't done that.
you better
too busy.
do that.
Yeah.
You're all good writers. Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Who wants a
full
job,
benefits. Started 2 weeks paid vacation.
They're
Started
awesome.
25 grand a year.
So in
There's some
essence,
people
No, 50
that will
grand.
do
but in
it for-
essence, the people that are making this possible for us to do this are the
We have
big
a go.
companies, because they're
Oh,
paying.
good, it does.
I mean, that's that's really what's attributing that value. So I mean, in all honesty.
No, what's paying the value is you clicking it.
Right, but I mean, they gotta have organic for their deal work.
Yeah.
Google has to have organic. That's why they're never gonna get away from organic, because that's what they.
Yeah, Google needs organic. And Facebook, like if you look at Facebook, they're the #1 website in the world for organic traffic. I'd pull it up, but it takes like 30 or 45 seconds to just run the report on Facebook.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Preston.
What is organic?
Organic is traffic that comes to your website with you not having to pay for it.
Natural.
Yeah. Kinda
Natural.
Like, yeah. Like,
Does organic get stale?
Yeah, but if you write, or does organic get stale? Yes. But if you write organic in a way that this is the term, evergreen, just like the trees in Minnesota, right? Never not green, right? The idea here is you write content that's not date specific, time specific.
right.
You're not going to go and write content about COVID or pandemic. Why?
Because
It's going to date you or put you
Yep.
right, if we were to go and write articles on my website about why did we transition to online only auctions and don't do live auctions, would I talk about I wouldn't, right? Because it would what? It would put me into that box.
Yep.
Right? I want content that is time and season and agnostic. Oh, more questions?
What would be an example of an unorganic person coming to you? Or
So they come to me from a Google ad,
paid ad?
a paid ad on Facebook, we're going to look at them all. Promise you. Y'all sweating yet?
This is great.
That's what Rich doesn't talk to you about is when you get up here and start doing public speaking, you get heart rate problems.
It is hot up there in the front though.
Yeah.
Because of the projector light on.
It's not the front, it's just nerves.
When we were up there doing the exercises.
Target the audience. Let's go.
All right. So Preston, we're going to look at strategies and then we're going to look at paid, okay? And these strategies work for paid and non-paid, okay? So first you're going to want to target the audience. How the heck do you do this? Like, how do you, right? We got to figure out who they are, right? And you can, currently in the United States, you can go buy lists.
Yeah.
right? So third-party data, it's called third-party data. You can go list your auction on platforms that already have buyer base, right? Tractor House or Proxybid or BidSpotter. You can go and buy a list, a mailing list. Figure out what you can figure out about them, okay? Where do they spend their time? What do they spend their time doing, right? If I've got hunting land to sell, who might I go find? Hunters, right? Or people that have what? Get creative.
Ranches or,
Oh, what about people that have ATV license,
yeah, ATV license, guns.
right?
Wait, you need a license for that?
You do in Minnesota. I don't know about down here, but up in Minnesota you do.
Yeah, you do.
Or we sold a horse farm, Kate, you'll get this, Kate. We sold a horse farm in Minnesota. I needed to find horse people. How did I find horse people? I went and found people, tracked this craziness, and it was an expensive one, like $1.8 million horse farm at auction. How did I go find the horse people?
Where to get hay?
Nah, I got it even creepier. I went and found people that had registered, had warranties on horse-related products.
Wow.
Because I can buy that list of people that had warranties on horse-related products. Because who are those people? Yeah, stock trailers and maybe, I don't know if you warranty saddle work, but, right? Stuff like that, right? And then what did I layer on top of it? Well, they also have to have a certain income level.
Right.
Or net worth
Yeah,
level,
what's the
right?
net worth?
So you can go and figure out what you know about them and get creative. These lists in the United States are available to you. We can figure out the credit score of everyone in this room for 12 cents a person,
Yeah.
including how many credit cards you have, how many kids you have, what's your address, what's your net worth, all of it. I can pull the website up. It's 12 cents a person. There's no data. This is the problem in the United States.
Yeah.
That nothing you think is secret. Because these credit bureaus, what do?
They report.
They report. What do they do with the data?
Sell it.
Sell it to who?
Google.
Anybody that'll buy it.
Yeah.
They do not care. It used to be you could only sell it to banks. Not could only, but that was the only buyer. But now we live in the world of the internet. I can just go to a website. The website I use is a website called accudata.com. It's 12 cents.
Is that gonna die?
Well, it might die if data regulations become more forceful in the United States.
Is that ACU data?
ACCU. I'm not going to pull it up, but it limited by your imagination only. Yeah, I'll pull it all up for you, right? Every list you could possibly imagine. Who owns guns? Who doesn't own guns? Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? Are you an independent? It has it all. Okay?
Do we have, like, if we're in real estate, I know we have to be careful with the fair housing.
Yeah, you have protected classes.
So that's really slowed us down on Facebook, but we can then trade.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that you can't go buy a list and upload it.
Right, okay, that was my question.
Now, all that said, still be careful because you still do have protected classes.
Right.
Some of the things that Facebook prohibits you from doing are protected classes.
Well, the thing that stinks is if it's real estate at all now, even though it's not houses, they try to throw you in that.
Yeah, they put you in the bubble.
Yeah.
Marketing messages should speak to the audience. Okay, what the heck do I mean by that? If I'm looking for an F-150 for sale, what do you type into Google? Ford F-150. Okay. How about you, Rich?
In terms of,
What would you search in Google if you were looking for a truck for sale?
trucks for sale,
Trucks for sale.
and I'd be specific if I'm
Yeah, like
looking for a
where?
specific truck.
Location.
Clean pickup.
How many of you would use the word auction?
Oh,
I love auctions. Okay? What's the biggest thing on most brochures? Auction. What's the second biggest thing on most brochures?
location,
Location.
date.
With the address, with
Yeah.
many times with what? Not only is it the location, but it's got directions.
Yeah.
Lord knows none of us have GPSs in our pocket 24 hours a day.
Pictures.
What else? The auction company name pretty big. Sometimes it even says that you have lunch on the grounds, which I find interesting because who eats off the ground? And that you have toilets. What's the smallest print generally on the brochure?
Stuff you're selling.
The stuff you're selling. What's the most important thing to the consumer?
The stuff you're selling.
Stuff you're selling. What should a brochure look like?
Features items or something.
Right? The biggest picture should be the stuff you're selling. Some of the biggest text should be the stuff you're selling. The smallest stuff should be my name. Because what does the consumer care about? The stuff I'm selling. And do they care that you're having lunch? Only once it becomes important and they're hungry do they care that you're having lunch. Do they care that you have a bathroom?
Not till they got pissed.
Not till they, well, yeah, and even then it's questionable. There's plenty of trees where I'm from, right? So, make the main thing the main thing. Okay? A lot of us miss this.
Yes, if you don't mind me asking a question. So our marketing director she would understand that, but she would then say, yeah, but we have to get the brand recognized.
So she doesn't understand it.
Okay, but then
Because she says but.
going back to the 777, right? The 7 rule. So I'm just asking like what, okay.
Hire a new marketing manager.
No, she's badass, but this is great. This is good stuff.
The brand is important. When does the brand become important?
You want people to just recognize what.
If I'm looking for an F-150 for sale, and I come upon a website I've never heard of, how important is the brand? But I've never heard of it. It's not important at all.
Important at all, okay.
The Ford
For finding, you have to target the audience. For the repeat buyer, for the people that I call VIPs, they're people that spend a lot of money with us, come back a lot, and attend a lot of events.
Yeah.
They love my brand. So what do they get? They get more brandy type messages.
Got it.
For the person that's never heard about me in the world, what kind of messages do they get? Product specific, right? And they might get testimonial type stuff. Like check out 307 reviews on Google, 4.7 stars. There's a reason I can, off the top of my head, right? Because that's part of our messaging to certain people. But to the customer that's bought from us for 10 years and spends hundreds of thousands, they could care less about our customer reviews because they already know we're good.
Mm-hmm.
They care about our brand. Oh, it's a graph thing. Okay, cool. I trust them. So she has to get away from lumping everything and every person into one bucket. That's the easy way out.
Okay.
Right? You've got to target the audience. And you and your business are going to have lots of different people. Fair?
Fair. Like it.
The fact that you compete at the auction is only important once it becomes important. Right? Until then, it doesn't matter. Right? The fact that I charge a buyer's premium is only important once they're interested in the product. The fact that it's an online auction is only important once they understand that I have that truck for sale, or that cow for sale, or that horse for sale. Right? The headline, by the way, is the most important part. The most important part of your entire brochure, or your entire marketing message. Why? Because that's what we see.
Yeah.
How many seconds do we have to catch a consumer's attention in the world? No, it's higher than that.
I think it's 3.
Higher.
7, right?
It's 8.
It's 8, okay.
8 seconds. Okay, you got 8 seconds. When you go to the mailbox and you get mail, how many pieces of mail are there?
6 or 7.
Your wife does it? You don't, it depends on the day. 6 or 7?
Yeah.
So if you got 8 seconds with them with the mail, and you got 8 pieces of mail,
Yeah.
how long's your brochure got?
A second.
1 second.
That is true.
And
Throw it in the trash.
if the most important thing is the headline, what should that headline do? It needs to hook them. It needs to speak to whoever you're marketing to. Okay, if you go to Ogilvy and Matthews, it's the largest marketing agency in the world. He's dead. David Ogilvy. He wrote an autobiography to his family, to his employees, about how to be a good marketer. An entire chapter he talks about writing headlines. What do you think his advice was to his, if you had 30 days to design a brochure, how many days of the 30 should you spend writing the headline?
29.
Yeah. 29 days writing the headline. So for a lot of us in the room, what do? We spend 29 days
On everything else.
writing all the small print.
Yeah.
And then at the end we go, crap, I got to put a headline on here, and we slap the word
That is so true.
auction as big as we can, But it's not the main thing. The main thing is what they see. So think about how you do your marketing. Target it to the people. I get that this gives you heartburn because it gives me heartburn too. Okay? We don't use the word auction in any of our marketing anymore. Why? It's a method of sale doesn't matter. It matters to me because we sell everything at auction. We believe it's the most fair, most transparent method of sale in the world. But for most people in America, they don't even know what an auction is. Sadly. But especially as you become less rural and more urban. Preston?
Would writing your headline in the form of a question be a good idea, or just?
Can be. So to Preston's point, you're on the right trail, right? Like, sometimes I write, so this is food service equipment, looking for quality late model equipment, question mark? Bid your price now on this quality equipment from this closed Kroger in the Colony, Texas. Right? Some people are going to say auction creates like urgency. Well, I can create urgency. Bid your price on quality equipment that must sell regardless of price. That wakes people up.
You didn't put a date in it.
I didn't put a date. I don't put date in anything. Why? Because what do dates allow people to do? Right? Every one of us does it. We get a brochure, we see something, and what do? We stack it on our desk if your desks aren't clean. And then what happens? The auction happens or the event happens and you go, and then what are you doing? You're cleaning your desk? Or you're cleaning through or whatever, you go, oh crap, I missed that thing. Because what do? When we see a date, we go, oh, I've got a week. I always tell this to people. Like, if you ever give me something to do, hey, can you help me out with this? Sure. And then I say, when do you need it by? Oh, whenever you get a chance. I always tell them, you'll never get it from me.
Never get it.
I know that. You will never get it from me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Just get rid of the dates. It's okay. Method of sale. There's all kinds of different methods of sale, right? Live auctions, simulcast auctions, online-only auctions with simulcast, online-only auctions. There is no right answer in the auction industry, okay? What makes sense for your business, for your lifestyle, or for your asset that you're selling, okay? There really isn't an asset that I'm aware of anymore that hasn't been sold in any of these formats. Even livestock. I mean, I just watched a beautiful purebred cattle auction in Colorado that was all online only.
Superior.
Now, it was a local auction guy. He's just getting in the purebred business. I sat there at the Minnesota State Auctioneers Association. Our conference was I sat next to him. He's drinking a gin and tonic. I'm drinking a gin and tonic. We're watching cows sell for $30,000 a piece. Right? But it works. But I've been to fantastic purebred, right? I mean, please see your dad, like, at a live sale. And works fantastic too for millions of dollars, right? I mean, you got to figure it out. They all can work. Okay? They all can work, and they all have advantages. And there's others. There's different combinations that are out there. Here's my advice to you. Pick one and stick to it. Okay? Pick one and stick to it. We were live only, and then we were simulcast, and then we went live, and then we kind of straddled both these. And what happens when you straddle fences? Generally get barbed wire, you don't want it. Right? And then we went simulcast and online only, and we did a little bit of both. And then the pandemic forced us to do what? Online only. Guess what happened to my customer service rating? Went up. Why did it go up?
Less interaction.
Well, human error.
You had more time to take care of your customers.
That's not why I think it went up, but it's a good point. They have to talk to me less. We believe, we don't have the data on this because we haven't taken the time. We believe it's because this and this, this, simulcast, it truly does create the worst of both worlds. In that, from a bidder standpoint, you're there and you're on site. And we would have this happen at every auction. Rich, correct me if I'm wrong. And the on-site bidder would say, do you really have somebody in your ear? Is there really somebody bidding? And it would create distrust in the on-site bidder because they didn't trust online bidder. Maybe didn't even believe they were there. What would the online bidder say in that same auction?
Don't trust your
There's nobody really in front of you. There's nobody bidding. There's trust. So I've come to this conclusion. Don't have the data because it's a recent conclusion in my brain. But is that you're better off doing live only or online only from a customer service standpoint, because then they're all on the same level playing field. You take that just sliver of distrust, and you can go and crack some crazy records in either method. Not saying simulcast isn't bad. This is actually the most popular option, I think, in the United States right now. But our customer service score didn't just go up; it doubled.
But how can we be guaranteed as a purchaser? Because that's the whole thing with me, is I would never buy anything on online auctions because I got screwed so many times with them. Because I felt...
Oh, so that becomes a business. Who are you doing business with?
That could be Ritchie Brothers, could have been Purple Wave, could have been a lot of them.
So at some point you have to do business with brands you trust. So this is what I do. This is a business choice. If you have a problem with your item, bring it back. I'll give you 100% full refund. No questions asked. Don't care.
Oh, wow, I've never heard that one.
Right? What does that do to you?
confidence.
Immediate confidence. What does it do to my brand? You would go read those 307. I can't tell you how many times there are people in there that says, hey, these guys do what's right. Hey, they don't always get it right, but they make it right. Over and over and over. And then what happens with other customers? They see it and they go, hey, we're going to do business with them. Right?
But that's my one thing, though, is I don't understand that, how that can be unregulated on online, because it, like, and I shouldn't even call them out, but like Purple Wave, you can look at their equipment sells for like 25, 35% more than what it'd bring in any other category. It's like, who is my other bidder? Because it's like, every time you put a bid, boom, it's gone, and it goes back up again. And it's like...
I don't think they're doing anything nefarious. Knowing Aaron McKee at Purple Wave, he is about as ethical and reputable as you're going to find as a guy. He'll hurt your brain cerebrally, but, right? Rich laughs. But I think there's less nefarious shit that goes on in the world than we sometimes think.
Yeah, I mean, just personally, my experience, I won't buy anything from them anymore.
Yeah.
Well, bear in mind that he does an
Unless you're talking
absolute
about-
I mean, for my business, you know, I look at,
Right? So it gets to the brand question. You've got to be comfortable with the brand, right? And I mean, look at it. You're like, I won't buy anything from Purple Wave. And over here, you're like, I buy everything from Purple Wave, right? Sometimes it can be experiences. Sometimes it can be maybe how you feel, right? So you as a company are going to have to figure that out. How are we going to do that, right? So maybe a Purple Wave strategy. I don't know if they do this. When I search Purple Wave, look, they're not using business.google.com at all. You see over here? They have no Google reviews. What happens in you when you search Purple Wave and you got to do your research to figure out are they good or bad?
You got to figure out for yourself.
You got to figure it out for yourself, right? What happens when you search Graph? Right? There's 307 of them. They can click it. They can search by newest. They can read them. Oh, look, my wife gave us 5 stars.
Billy Joe, that's cute.
Right? But then you can also see that we interact with them. This is from 2 days ago because I don't work on the weekends, but, right? And there is a response. So they see that we're humans. And if you go down far enough here, good news is you got to go really far. Sometimes people are pissed off. I wonder if she deleted it.
Oh,
Oh, here you go.
There it is.
Yeah. Right?
well, I'm glad we're talking about this. Yeah.
Right? It's a bad review. He bought something that didn't work.
Okay.
We're sorry to hear of it. He wanted us to test every item in our auctions. We do not test. I can't read that. I say that. We do not test items. That's correct. And items are sold in as-is condition. That said, if there's a problem with an item, we definitely identify the problem in the description. I've shared your feedback with our team so we can continue to improve. Right? We address it right in there.
Did he respond back or no?
No. Kim, the item I purchased at auction did not work. I asked if the item was tested and if it worked and was told everything was in working order, nothing was wrong. Kim, I'm so sorry to hear about your experience. While in some cases items are not in working condition, we know that our standard procedures to disclose that. From your comments, it appears we told you something that wasn't true. I'm paraphrasing. I don't see any notes in our records that you ever called us. All you did was leave us a review. But I've gone ahead and given you a full refund as if you would have called the office. So you call the customer out, right? Not in a bad way. You just address it,
Address it.
right?
So she didn't
But-
change her review after you?
She didn't. Sometimes customers will change their reviews. I've had customers go from 1 stars like this, edit the review and make them 5 stars. There's one, if we would go down farther, he then called us and he goes, we called him, we said, dude, what's the problem? We haven't heard, like, we see a shitty review. What's going on? He says, well, da-da-da-da-da. Well, here you go. Here's $1,500. Like, we'll make it right. And he's like, oh my gosh, I didn't think businesses like this existed. Right? Do the right thing.
So John, though, in your responses, it's happened to us a couple times. We're a childhood cancer nonprofit and take kids on hunting and fishing trips that are terminal. And some people that don't believe in hunting, you know, would put some reviews out there that were very negative. And we responded though, but it's you have to be very careful on
Yeah.
how you respond. You can't be combative, or you just stick to the core values type, regular,
Yeah,
right?
if you get combative, that'll turn into a piss and
Right,
You-
which I think is important to
It'll be
understand
like
because,
fighting an armadillo.
yeah.
If you don't do
Trying
it
to
right,
pull
it
it
ain't
out
gonna
the
turn
hole.
out good, is it?
Yeah.
Trying to pull it out of the hole.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's
You might as well go noodling,
Yeah.
because it'll be better.
But I think that's important for people to know, just because it's easy to want to respond in a different
Yeah.
manner,
Some of them might have to leave overnight.
right? To
Take a
think
deep
about it.
breath. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, we're gonna look at a couple more strategies, and then it's gonna be lunch. How do you like that?
yeah,
12 minutes, you calm down.
hungry, I'm hungry.
Nope. Lori's mad at me anyways, because I didn't give you a break after the hour, so. All right, print. Newsprint and trade pubs can be effective if used correctly, especially if you demographically match them, right? To be on the top 40 radio station with an auction may or may not match the audience, right? Figure it out. That is one thing all the newspapers and radios and media have. They have the demographics of their listeners and TV viewers, all of that. Figure out what the demographics are, and does it match the demographics of your bidders and buyers, or your sellers, whoever you're looking at. And if it does, go with it. If it doesn't, don't. Preston?
Being in a smaller town, would you recommend more print ads?
How small?
Teeny tiny.
Ads?
Like,
I mean, like 400 or like 4,000?
Yeah, probably about closer to 6,000.
Oh, I wouldn't use newsprint unless I had to.
What about 31 people?
Well, who publishes a newspaper in a town of 31 people?
Maybe not
Yeah,
the,
all you need is one paper, just pass it around.
What about flyers?
maybe not the newspaper, like, I don't know if you guys,
Newspapers can be effective. It's cheap and inexpensive to use it.
like a thrifty.
But I
nickel,
wouldn't
like
count
that.
on it to produce all my bidders. Because if you're in a small area with only 5,000 people in the county, they might not be the right 5,000 people for what you're selling. You got to go spend time where the people that are selling spend time, or that are buying, right? Just because I live in Stewartville, Minnesota, doesn't mean I subscribe to the Fillmore County Journal, or that I even read it. It comes to my mailbox every day, or every Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, it immediately goes from the mailbox to the recycling bin. And that's on a good day if my wife doesn't get the mail.
Do you ever break your data? Like, say if you're trying to target a certain demographic and you just say, hey, we're gonna wing one here, we're gonna try,
I wing on every auction.
do you really?
So we spend 100% of what we tell the seller we're going to spend, and then I spend 20% more on that on a wing. Of my own money.
Just to a group of
Always
audience
testing.
that you don't even know would come.
Always testing, never none. And then always collecting the data.
That's awesome.
How about yard signs?
Yard signs? We'll talk about signs.
okay, so,
The auction section's effective at reaching people that are interested in auctions. That doesn't mean they're interested in what you got to sell. Right? Sometimes you're more effective at being in the sports section, or the farm section, or the whatever section than the auction section. Don't fall into that trap that I'm going to put my auction in the auction section. Maybe you put it in the auction section, but maybe you also put it in the farm section. or the real estate section, or the whatever.
Like, in Michigan, it's not really a newspaper, but it's called the Michigan Farm Trader.
Yeah.
That's like the Bible of farmers, and it's really cheap. And I get a lot of business from
Yeah,
them.
use the data. I'm not saying don't, I'm just saying don't throw the shit at the wall.
Right.
Yeah,
If you don't ask, how did you hear about us, you're not getting data.
And even then, people will lie.
Right.
yeah, or surveys of tough people.
News articles are really effective at getting traffic to your website. Most auctions aren't newsworthy. And I sell 360 closed businesses a year. I might get 5 or 10 TV stations a year, maybe. Okay? Most auctions aren't newsworthy. Direct mail. Consumers become satiated. What the heck does that mean, Preston? Full. Yeah, they become full. Consumers can only buy so much. Get them off your list if they're done buying. Or understand the buying habits. I'm not an every year truck buyer. So what does the gal that sold me my truck do?
Calls you every other year?
She calls me, no, she calls me on my birthday. Not my physical birthday, but my truck birthday.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey, happy birthday to your truck. Okay, Abby, thanks.
Ready for your
But guess what? I know Abby, and we're getting ready to buy a new vehicle.
That's
Guess
great.
who's getting a phone call? But she's not sending me new vehicles every week.
Now she's keeping you in mind.
Yeah, she's staying top of mind without sending me an ad or an email from the Chrysler dealership every week. I switched from Ford to Ram. Adding a person's name and full color to your brochure will increase response by 135%. That's almost double. 2 times as many people will come to your website by just adding their name. And I'm not meaning in the address field.
Like addressing it directly
Yes,
to them.
John, don't miss, this is what we used to do.
Yeah.
John, don't miss out on this great auction. John, need quality equipment at prices you set?
Would that be the same as like in an email?
Yeah.
But versus like a blast.
Anytime
like
you
do a
can use
blast,
your
so
name.
It's not personal. right?
Name.
Yeah,
Hours.
name.
We tested this. I used 2 different, I split my mailing list. We used to mail 2,000 brochures per auction. I split it in half for 6 months. 1,000 people would get a brochure that didn't have this naming on it, and 1,000 would. Guess what? That number is pretty damn accurate. If you can add their name, full color, and more sophisticated, what the heck does that mean? If you know that I only buy Ram trucks, what should my auction brochure look like? Better have Ram truck as the main picture. If I only buy John Deere tractors, the main picture shouldn't be a Case IH tractor. Right? The cool thing is, in your auction business, we all have that data. Every one of us. Forever, we've had that data. Use it. By the way, the cost to add that to a brochure, when you call the printer and say, hey, it's called variable data printing. Variable data printing. If they charge you more than $100 for this, they're trying to make money that they shouldn't be off of you, okay? Company we use out of Indiana, I think they're $29 to add variable data printing. And all it is your database is this. You send them a spreadsheet, first name, last name, address, city, state, zip, tractor. G for green, R for red. Cow. H for Holstein, S for Swiss. And they know, boom, when it prints, it'll just, oh, it's an H, print them the Holstein cows. Oh, it's an S, print them the brown Swiss cows. Okay?
They can, yeah.
And it happens in real time. Preston?
Amazing.
Like Rich Wood was talking about handwritten letters.
Handwritten letters are awesome.
Yep, they're the
And,
best.
like little gift cards. Could you send gift cards through the mail? We'd like to have your business. Here's a token of our appreciation just for.
You could. It might get expensive.
But I mean, there wouldn't be really anything against it.
No, I don't think there'd be anything against it. Bribery is all right. Except in politics. What's that?
Free armadillo hunt.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you, you can market a free snake armadillo hunt or something like that.
Well, you'll be the first one I call when that business gets up and running. I'll comp it to you. You can come out and do it.
Look at you, John. You're going on
Well, I won't let you comp it, but I'll come out.
Catch one snake, catch two free.
You gotta indemnify me though if I get bit, because snake bit Nate. All right.
Go for the armadillos.
Don't be afraid to use third-party data, okay? Go get those mailing lists, at least right now in the United States.
Okay.
Know that in 3 or 4 years, maybe tricky. All right, social media. There's differences between different types of social media, okay? On Facebook, there's ads and posts. Anybody know the difference?
You pay for ads.
Yes. If you pay for posts, what are you telling Facebook? You want likes, comments, shares.
True, yeah, you want the visibility.
You want ads, which is what? You're telling Facebook you want traffic to your website. Okay? By doing promoted posts, it's like hanging the brochure in the coffee shop.
Okay,
You're just hoping somebody comes along and they pull it off the wall and they sit down and they talk about it.
okay,
Right? You want conversation. By doing ads, you're saying, hey, come to my auction. Get over here. I don't care if you have a conversation about it in the coffee shop. Both have value, both have purpose. Both
Like paid
different.
ads versus boosted.
Boosted posts, yeah. Boosted posts or promoted posts.
How about commercials?
Commercials.
Yeah, like you ever do commercials?
Like TV? Some.
Or-
Expensive.
So are you,
Radio.
wait, so on Facebook, you're saying that promoted ads are like the brochure and coffee shop?
Promoted or boosted posts
Uh-huh.
are going to be like a brochure at a coffee shop.
like if you post something and then you pay to boost it,
Uh-huh.
that's just you
So,
saying.
yeah, all you're telling Facebook is you want likes, comments, shares.
Versus buying an actual ad that when you're
Yeah.
scrolling it, you see an ad for.
And it'll have like a
A tractor,
link.
whatever.
Yeah, click here to bid or learn more or
Yeah.
see more.
Yeah, see more,
Buy now.
buy.
Something like that. That stated objective is get traffic to your website.
And with the paid ads, you can choose your demographic with those.
Correct. With paid ads, you can do all kinds of demographical targeting, right?
Sometimes.
Use audiences. Use audiences for sure.
But you can't boost.
Use those audiences, okay? And then be aware of changing access to data, okay? Okay, here's the problem with Facebook. They are increasingly facing regulation from the United States government. Mark Zuckerberg is called before Congress on the regular,
Yep.
okay? In Europe, they are continually being fined big dollars, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on the regular about the use of their data, okay? They, Facebook, have peaked. They're starting to slide backwards. It's effective. We saw it. Instagram is still doing pretty good, owned by Facebook. TikTok is like gold right now.
Damn it.
Who owns that?
TikTok, a Chinese company.
WeChat.
That's the honest truth.
Does WeChat own them?
Just put a piece of tape on your microphone and your camera when you're using it. 'cause
So you can, they just rolled out ads.tiktok.com. You can now just started that you can
Yeah.
place ads on TikTok. Ads.tiktok.com.
What's this Meta, with like this thing?
I'm not going to talk about Meta because it'll
Yeah,
hurt
it's
everybody's
just-
brain.
Yeah. It's just a
The
rebrand.
word meta
This is already hurt my
hurts my brain.
You should come see me for 3 days. We're going to go to lunch in a minute, so you'll be able to uncompress your brain. All right, we already talked about search and mobile, right? Leverage customers with consumer intent, right? So when you're writing those questions, where to buy is different than how to buy, right? When to buy, like, so use that, create that organic content, understand that. Focus on asset rather than method of sale. When we get rid of the word auction or for sale, we get about twice as many clicks. By getting rid of the word auction or for sale. It's kind of crazy. Utilize the Google Display Network. So Google, most of the ads that you see on the internet are from Google. And you can always tell when it's loading. There you go. You see these two little symbols in the corner?
Yes.
Anytime you see that, that's coming from Google. That ad is from Google, which means you can buy that spot through Google and pay per click. Probably 10 cents a click to be right there on the farm and dairy, which in Ohio is like the end-all be-all for farm auctions. Okay, for 10 cents a click. By the way, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, Fox News, what website do you want to be on? Realtor.com, you want to be in their app? Use the Google Display Network. 10 cents a click. maybe 15 cents a click if you're,
And can you set a limit?
yeah, you just say, I want to spend $10 a day, $2 a day, $2,000 a day.
Okay.
How about apps? Can you create a mobile app for it?
Yeah, and you can advertise in the mobile apps.
So you wouldn't have to pay for, like, who would you have to pay for the ad?
You'd have to go and create a mobile app that would be search engine friendly in the mobile app store search. And you'd have to pay somebody to create the app. We could talk about it at lunch. All right. Test, measure, adjust, repeat. This is my entire mantra. Every day of my life is this. We are always testing different media. You heard me say it. 20% of my budget, over. So we spend 100% of what we tell a seller, and then we spend 20% more. It's just me testing, right? If I got a $2,000 budget, I'm testing new stuff. Why? So I don't get caught off guard when TikTok suddenly comes into the world and go, what the heck is this? Well, I already been there. I know if it works or not for my business. Or Reddit. I know if it works or not. Or Twitter, right? Measure. Use tools like Google Analytics to measure this data. Figure out what works, what doesn't work, what's resulting in bids and not. And then adjust your marketing and do it all over. Right? The idea here is don't just continue to do the same thing over and over and over. What's that the definition of?
Insanity.
Right? Do it. And then what's stuck? Do that some more. The stuff that's not sticking, what do you do with that?
Don't do it.
Yeah. So for my business, what don't we do anymore? I don't do newspapers anymore. I don't do yellow pages anymore. Guess what else I don't do anymore? I don't do direct mail anymore.
We don't.
But it works for my business because we've been able to test, measure, adjust. And then what do? Repeat. Over and over and over. Over and over and over. Never not. Continually testing, measuring it, adjusting based on what we see, and redoing it. Never not. Always be experimenting. This is Google Analytics. Go
How do
ahead.
you measure like a TikTok then? How do you?
Right here.
Yeah. You
And then we're going to lunch.
can go to your little analytics page.
This is a tool called Google Analytics. It's free. By the way, it just got ruled illegal in Germany. Because why? The GDPR in Germany ruled that what? Who owns this data? The consumer's data, and Google's aggregating it. So guess what happened in Europe? Bye-bye Google Analytics.
Wow.
Be on the lookout. This might happen in the United States. It's not there today, but it just happened last week in Germany.
Wow.
Which means it's everywhere in Europe now. Google Analytics been ruled illegal to collect this data. So we come down here, and this is looking at for the last 28 days. We can see where the traffic is. So Facebook CPC, so we paid for this Facebook traffic. Here's Google paid traffic. Here's our graph email. Here's organic traffic. Here's an organic post on Facebook. Here's another email. Right? We can. It's really fine, small print. Maybe I do it like that. Then I can also see, so conversions are bids. So if we just sort this by bids, where did the bids on my website come in the last 28 days? Right? So I can then quickly see like, oh, this is direct. These are people getting text messages and email reminders about our auctions or being outbid or whatever. That's the number one source of bids. Then Google paid traffic, then Facebook paid traffic, then our weekly email, then organic traffic. Look at this. I paid nothing for this, and it generated 12,000 bids. 10% of my bids, I paid it zero. Well, think if I could create a website that was even more popular organically on Google, what I could do. Right? I could get rid of these two paid or decrease. Right? Test, measure, adjust, repeat. Over and over and over until you're 90 years old and not. Okay? Simple. It's 3 steps. What are you selling? How is it normally sold? And who normally buys it? Where does the person that buys it shop for it? Where does the consumer that buys it spend their time? And can I get in front of them with my marketing? and then use a multi-touch, multimedia approach. Direct mail, SEO, organic, paid, Google, Facebook. Review the campaign on a regular basis and shift the spend. That's the coolest thing about digital. What can I do in the middle of a campaign with a digital campaign? If it's not working, I can change it. I can turn it off. I can say, oh, spend less here, spend more there. I cannot do that with analog media. Once the wad's spent, the wad's spent. 3 steps. Got it? Boom. Oh, I turned my clicker off. So that's just that slide again. Leverage consumer trends and adapt your message to prospects in the environments where they spend time. You're going to find more success at less price. This is my personal cell phone number. That is my personal email address at work. Call me, text me, email me. Don't send me a letter. I am happy to help,
Oh, yeah.
answer questions. Know that I have a full-time job, which is, right, the Chief Marketing Technology Officer for our company. Preston, you need glasses, buddy?
Yeah, I've lost them a while back, never got them.
Might I make a suggestion?
Move closer to the room.
You should move closer to the room and get your glasses back.
Yeah.
It'll be your cue too.
Call me, text me. If I don't call you back in the same day, it's not because I don't love you or don't want to help. It's just, we're busy.
You're freaking big.
Right. But I promise you I will help, and there are no secrets. 0. There you got 2 hours
Thank
and
you.
12 minutes of me.
That was awesome. Like badass. Best part of the whole damn thing so far.
Well, tell Mike and Lori that.
Yeah, no, like that.
Tell
was the-
Rich that.
That was the best.
Yeah, there's so many good pictures.
Yes, Rich is going to run to the airport. You want me to just read it to you a little? Here.
The good thing?
It means my nephew, so it must not be too bad.
Wait, you can always fix who you're friends with, but you can't fix who you're related to.
Oh, that is very true. JOHN, graph, GRAF. Auction.
Well, good for y'all. I get all excited. This is
I'm excited about this for my business. You're welcome.
Yeah, I tell you what, this is one of my favorite things about the auction. Everybody's just so nice and helpful.
Right?
They're not dicks, like, well, this is my business, you know. They're like, let me help with it.
great, right? And you're with a whole group of new friends now.
Oh,
that
yes.
all help each other.
Still got friends. This class is incredible.
This was my favorite so far, just because I can use so much of it.
I'm just like sitting here soaking in and
We
trying
gotta get
to.
out of the room, we gotta go so Rich will get to eat, because he's gotta go to the airport. Okay. Come on.
Long time no see, I almost forgot what you looked like.